Hello everyone, so I do have, as you can see, my little helper with me today again. I actually have him most of the day, so unless I'm working, then of course I have someone else look after him when I'm working. But for most of the day I have him with me, even when I'm doing my workouts. He is always helping me. Now, when working out with a baby, you may need to start and stop a couple of times, but that's absolutely fine. I think as long as you're actively using up, let's say you're doing your half an hour or 40 minutes and you're not counting your breaks in the half an hour or 40 minutes, then you should be absolutely fine. Now, I know that when it comes to essentially cardio and burning calories, obviously your heart rate is what matters, and the higher your heart rate, and I have actually noticed it with my watch, so of course the higher your heart rate, the more calories that you burn. Now, of course, if you're working out on a straight hour and a half consistently, your heart rate would be higher all throughout your workout, rather than if you're doing 3 times a day, half an hour, which is what I end up doing most of the time. So I'll do 2 or 3 times of half an hour to 40 minutes in the evenings when he's asleep. I'll get to do an hour maybe. But yeah, so obviously it's better to do it at once. But if you don't have a chance, which is the situation with me because I have my lovely baby here, then it's absolutely fine as long as you're moving and you are hitting your daily moving requirements, then you're absolutely fine. Now, saying that, I'm going to start with how did my challenge go from last week. Now, my challenge was consistency, and my goal was to be doing half an hour a day of my exercises. Now, I did meet this goal, and we'll go through all the statistics when we go through everything day to day. So I picked something that was easy, so I usually did more than half an hour a day, of course, but I actually found it a little bit worse to pick half an hour, because I picked it because I was sure I will do it. But then what happens is, like, let's say normally I would maybe push to 45 minutes, but because my goal was to do half an hour, let's say I'll do my half an hour in the morning. I'll do it first thing in the morning before getting to work, and then I would start my day essentially. Now, because it was just half an hour, basically as soon as I hit the half an hour I stopped. So I'm going to increase that for next week. So I'll be doing 45 minutes, and I'm going to be doing 45 minutes per session, meaning that I'm going to do 45 minutes in the morning before work, and then after he goes to sleep I'll also be doing 45 minutes at least. That's my minimum, but considering how last week have gone, where I've just been stopping at the half an hour, I will probably be stopping at 45 minutes. Now, that is not including, of course, our morning walk, and again, when we go through everything day to day, we'll cover that as well. So just to say about moving and working out. So today is Sunday, and so this morning I did the Pamela live workout. So it was an hour where we did 2 of her videos that have ab trainings, and 2 of her videos which are cardio and for sweating. And I think it's a really good way to start a Sunday. Now, when I usually do her workouts, I will usually do 3 or 4 in a row because they're 10 to 15 minutes. And also I do use weights, even if she's not using any weights. So I will use weights and resistant bands because I think it gives you that extra push when you're doing your home workouts. So on topic again of home workouts, I really, because I said, like I said, I used to do body with a class when I didn't have a baby. So I was looking forward to like maybe getting back into body pump, because it's essentially working, it's like cardio with weights. So I feel like it just gives you that extra resistance when you're training. So I couldn't really find anything on YouTube. So I got the Less Meals membership. Now you don't have the body pump access to workouts on your basic membership, which is the $6. You only have it on your advanced, which I think is about $16 per month. But for me, that's 100% worth it, because their workouts are quite good, and you have like 240 body pump workouts. And you don't only have body pump, of course, you have like other things like body combat, strength training, dancing. But I started for the body pump. I do want to get into maybe the body combat. But the benefit there as well is the workouts are half an hour to 55 minutes essentially, which means that you have a full workout. Now on YouTube, again, you have to pick 10 minutes of that, 15 minutes of that, but there you have this nice long workout, and they have the warm-up included, and they have stretching included in the end. So it's very, very good for your muscles. Now, of course, you will need to invest in getting weights for the home if it's something that you're not doing. But you don't need that many things. So you need essentially a plate, barbell, you need dumbbells. So I do use dumbbells. You don't actually need them, but I use them. I also use a resistance band, and that's absolutely fine to do the workouts. So that is in terms of the different exercises I've incorporated this week. So essentially I started doing the Les Mills workouts, and I still do my skipping after Mr. goes to bed. But anyway, let's start with the days. So Monday, as usual, Monday, Tuesdays are my best days, because I'm always like so motivated after doing the video and seeing the results. So you can see the numbers on the screen. So we did our morning walk. So my breakfast was smoked salmon, cream cheese, and 2 rice cakes. Now I don't think I actually managed to eat lunch that day, just because I was quite busy with work. Dinner, we had salmon and broccoli. Now, just to be clear, so I was tracking my calories before as well. I don't know why I wasn't putting them on screen. But essentially, if you are looking to lose weight, you absolutely need to be tracking calories, because if you're not tracking your calories, and I mean every single calorie, then it is kind of like going shopping and not knowing how much money you have. So you're bound to just overspend, and you won't even know it's happened. It is a bit tricky, because okay, now with an apps it's easy, because you essentially always have your phone on you, and you just have to make sure not to forget. Like for the moment, okay, I'm having my cappuccino, so I'm recording that I've had the cappuccino, and it's about 60 to 80 calories depending on the milk that you use. So definitely that needs to be included always in your calculations. So anything small, because you might have had 6 M&Ms, well, you still need to record that. Of course, keeping to lower calorie foods, it makes it a lot easier in case you're not really sure of how much you're eating. Say if you're eating a carrot salad, be like 100 grams over or under, well, that's great. It's gonna be like 60 calories off. Whereas if you're eating salmon and you're 100 grams over or under, well, that's 200 calories. That can literally be the difference whether you're gonna lose fat on that day or you're not going to. So that's very, very important, and I struggle with it because I hate math, and I'm honestly not sure 100% about the quantities. it's a learning curve for me, but I feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting better. Now on Tuesday, again, morning walk. The breakfast was the same as Monday. Lunch, I had the carrot salad that I just talked about, so it's absolutely brilliant. It's essentially just diced carrots and some like vinegar, lemon, and like orange zest, and it's really, really nice. And these 2 pieces of sushis. For dinner, we all had egg noodles with veggies. And then after Mr. went to bed, I did about 40 minutes of skipping. Now, I am incorporating Mr. not only in my workouts, but also when we're essentially eating. So I'll have him sit with me and he's gonna eat off of my plate, which essentially is super helpful because he has a huge appetite. And so I end up eating less. So I'll eat maybe 2/3 of the plate, or sometimes even half. He eats a lot. So it's a huge help for dinner essentially, on keeping my portions small. Then on Wednesday again, so I did skipping and the first Les Mills body pump lessons. So I started it on the Wednesday essentially, and I've been doing it every day since. So I had rice cakes and coffee for breakfast, then I had sushi for lunch, and noodles and veggies. Again, I was sharing them with this guy over here, and we didn't end up eating all of the noodles, which was very good. Are you eating the paper? I'm telling you, he has a massive appetite. And then after he went to sleep, I did my 40 minutes of skipping whilst watching The Ultimate in France. Thursday, I don't know why I haven't recorded what I've been doing, but I'm presuming it was similar to Wednesday. Now, Friday was a bad day. So essentially, no, it was a good day, but it was a bad day for my diet. Now, we had some amazing news on Friday that essentially we're moving closer to purchasing the property that we want. And this is absolutely fantastic news. And so of course my partner thought that it's a great idea to celebrate, and so we got pizza and champagne. Now of course that is not great for the diet, and even though I was really enjoying the positive energy throughout the day, I did feel guilty afterwards. Now what I did there is, because I often find that I can keep up with the diet when I'm on track, and then as soon as I stray, it is honestly like avalanche essentially. I really struggle to keep up with my diet after I make a mistake once, because then it's, oh, you know, I've made this mistake, so might as well just like have a whole day of mistakes the next day, and then I try to get back on track, and then before you know it, you've had a week of mistakes. Well, again, not necessarily mistakes, but you've had a week of not keeping to your diet, and then you're trying to get back into it, and then you don't even remember what you were doing. And yeah, so I didn't want this to be the case, and also I didn't want to have any essentially negative energy when we had effectively such amazing news. So what I ended up doing is relying on Gabby Bernstein's Choose Again method. Now, what the Choose Again method is, essentially it's 3 steps to get away from having just negative thoughts and negative energy with you. So the first step is you have to write down what you're feeling in the moment. So for me, with overeating, it's guilt, anger, despair, and disappointment in myself. So I feel like almost despair is like, I will never like get where I want to get. I'll never like lose the weight. So yeah, it comes with a lot of negativity essentially. So the next step is, so that's your step 1. You're writing down your feelings that you're feeling at the moment, the negative feelings that you would like to not feel anymore essentially. So the second step is you're going to thank the universe that it's shown you these emotions, essentially showing you that you're maybe on the wrong track. And if you didn't feel the guilt, then you would continue to eat even more. So it's good that you felt something about it in that moment. Now, the next, and this is the most important step, of course, is you have to focus on one positive thing right now. Now, that positive thing doesn't necessarily have to be related to what caused you the negative feelings. So it can be, let's say I'm upset about the food, I can have a very positive emotion that relates to my son, that he's like happy and healthy. But when it comes to food, I started thinking more and more about it now that I'm trying to reframe my attitude towards food altogether and to essentially start loving food and respecting food. I find it, so I started thinking to myself how grateful I am that my problem is that I have access to too much food and it's so good that I'm overeating. And that is a lot of a better problem to have than to worry about where your meal is going to come from, worry about are you going to be able to feed your family in the upcoming days. And I'm so grateful that I don't have this problem. My problem is literally I have so much access to food that I can overeat. And even in first world countries, I think we don't appreciate how many people are starving. So I am in France at the moment, as I have mentioned in the previous videos, and on Friday, I believe actually it was the Friday, we were supporting with my partner, we went to support a charity that they pack food for low-income families to ensure that they have food available, and we're in France. And I noticed this even in the UK, so there was like a lot of work around food banks, and I was working for a charity in the UK when I was there. And it is absolutely heartbreaking how many people do not have access to food. I mean, I have friends that their families have been relying on benefits and food banks, and it is not easy. So how lucky am I that I had access to this amazing pizza and champagne, and we were celebrating getting our house. So this overeating, it is not even a problem. So reframing it in that way, I think it really helped me to get up with a very positive energy the next day and be like, hey, thank you food that you're here. What can I make that's gonna be nice and nutritious for my body for breakfast? Now, another thing that I have started to think about more and more is appreciating the food more. Now, I know that in institutionalized religion, which is something that I am not for at all, but saying prayer to the food, it's how people start their meal. Now, I'm never going to say it in an institutionalized religious way, but I find it very nice when I've prepared my portion and I'm looking at the beautiful colors and I can smell the food, just to say thank you, universe, for providing me with this food, and thank you to the food as well, because food is essentially energy. So thank you for giving me the energy that I need to live. And so yeah, it makes me feel really connected to what I'm doing. And why I think it's important is because a lot of times, and I can say this for myself 100%, and I think that's the case for most people, when you're binging and when you're just overeating, you're really not thinking about the food you're consuming or how you're consuming it. So I have literally on a binge been eating bread with ketchup on it. There was no respect for the food. I was just stuffing my face as quickly as possible so that I can get out of that guilty feeling of how much I've been eating. And yeah, there was no respect for the food essentially. And this food might have been great for someone, that would have appreciated it and enjoyed it. So I'm gonna start appreciating and enjoying my food more and more. And so yeah, this is what Friday essentially taught me, that being grateful and appreciating what you have is essentially the best way to get away from binging. So on the Saturday, I'm sorry, he has to play with the noisiest thing in the room. That's okay. I've just thrown it at the carpet. Uh, so on the Saturday, I had carrot salad for breakfast. Then I did my Lemio's body pump exercise for the day and skipping whilst watching The Ultimate in France. And then we had organized to play golf with my partner, but it was a very cold day. And so we were gonna, and because I'm relatively a beginner, so our pace would have been very slow, we would have been very cold. So we ended up going to an indoor golf for about 2.5 hours. Now, even though it's indoor golfing, I still ended up doing 3,000 steps just back and forth around the room. Although I did manage to break my partner father's driver, so I am very upset about that, but we'll buy him a new one, of course, a much better one. I had an amazing coffee whilst I was there. As you can see, it had the cream on it and everything, but that's fine. You know what? Again, I binged with the pizza from the day before, but a nice coffee was absolutely amazing. Of course, I did take the extra calories into account when I was having my lunch, so I had rice cakes with some cream cheese and some of the carrot salad. And then I had dinner with, of course, with the rest of the family. And that's what we had for dinner. So yeah, I'm very happy with how things have worked out in the past week. And I'm very, very grateful for finding a way to deal with overeating a little bit better by reframing my thinking around it. Now there's another thing that I wanted to mention, and maybe I'll do a whole video around my experience with Epically Aligned by Kathrin Zenkina. So it's like a boot camp course. So you have 5 lessons in the it was in the end of last year to prepare you for this year. Now she talked about the domino effect. Essentially that when you start focusing on one area and making one area better, the domino effect, it will work through other areas of your life, and other desires that you have will start to come to fruition because you're working on this one thing. And so I didn't really see, for example, how like losing weight will help me with my work, for example, how it will help me with the other goals that I have for myself. But it's all about what you accept, essentially. So it honestly had a domino effect for me. Like, now that I'm losing the weight and I'm effectively dealing with procrastination, so I'm not saying to myself, I'm going to be working out tomorrow and the diet starts tomorrow. Well, I've kind of brought this attitude to my work as well, where I have literally put in my diary. So I hate calling people. I really hate it. So I would always want to send an email. But now I have literally put in my diary that from 1:30 until 2 o'clock, I'm going to be calling people. Yes. And so that is something that I have decided to work on as well, and just handling my procrastination. So so the more you stop putting things off, the better you are in every area of your life, including weight loss. Now, another thing that again is related to the Epically Aligned program is on the last lesson that Kathrin has, she's asking for one word or a phrase to be using throughout the next year. Now, also, I have another YouTuber that I follow. Her name is Shalon Lester, and she also said the same thing, like choose a word for the year. And I was like, oh, what word do I choose? I mean, beauty. Then I had effortless, because I feel like, you know, effortlessly perfect. And then it honestly hit me this week that my word is essentially home. So this is very relevant to me because we're going through a very transitional period at the moment. Like, we're staying with family and we're waiting for everything on our house to be finalized. And I cannot wait to get in there and make it a family home. But how does that relate to my weight loss journey? So I essentially, what I want is I want to feel at home in my own body. And this is what getting fit, getting healthy, losing the weight means to me. It means waking up and from the morning feeling like I belong here, this is my body, and I cherish it, I love it, and I'm so happy to be in it. So yeah, this word has a huge double meaning in my life, and so home, and so that is definitely my word for the year, and it came to me. And so I think this is the other thing as well that Kathrin Zenkina was mentioning in the Epically Aligned program, is that everything won't come at once, but to be honest, it's been coming a lot quicker than what someone expects when you say that things don't come at once. You expect it maybe to be taking the whole year, but it's not taking the whole year. It's been taking weeks, it's been taking days essentially, and so much has been changing in the matter of days, and it's all about actually putting in the work every day. And he's eating something again. So I suppose I will see you next week. Bye.